I should be good to go. Good afternoon or good evening, whatever it may be for you, and welcome to round 5 of 16 in the ARC 2023 European Series Formula One World Championship. We're here once again at Hungary, getting going with some qualifying at the moment. Joined today by Matt Stotts in the booth. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing alright, hanging in there on this fine Saturday.
See, we're in the rain here.
Yeah, not as fine over on the Hungaroring. It will be wet conditions all weekend, it looks like. All through qualifying as well as the race.
Ah, man, that's gonna be very difficult. Yesterday was the same thing for the American series, and it looked very um, difficult to navigate the track, and at least keeping it on track, I should say. Um, it's gonna be a tough task for these guys, but I'm sure they can all get this done nice and cleanly.
Field today looking a little shorter than it was last night, but I mean, even with the grid stacked to about 19, I believed we were for last night's American series, we ended up with, I think, 5 or 6 safety cars in total, so I mean, it could be anybody's race here today as well. Given that incidents will probably be coming one way or the other for these drivers, some of them more experienced than others, of course, but in conditions like this, you just never know.
Let's see who's got an actual. Oh, it'd be the Ferrari. I don't know who that is. I'm learning names as we go. Um,
Yep, looks like the Ferrari of Mo Altai, coming through Sector 1 at the moment, will be the first to lay down a lap time. I'm not quite sure how representative that time will be, of course, given the conditions, but we'll wait and see.
oh, somehow didn't validate that right there. Let's see. Oh, 5-5. It's good to see. Don't know how to say his name. I think Cameron Lopes. I think I say. It's good to see him back in the league. It's been a minute since we saw him. Just
It
thought I'd
is, yeah.
shout him out for a minute. He's an OG. Ooh, got one in the grass over here. That's a Mercedes. That is Connor Hannock. Oh, it must be getting on the way probably. 132.1.
So, yep, first time across the line will be the 132 from Mo Altai, quickly taken
Oof.
by Jude Ferry, though, with the
Oh, now we're getting some
130.
times rolling through.
And Will just quick with it as well. The 128.8. Billy Targi coming in for provisional P2 with the 129.2.
Oh, my game's glitched. Shows him in the garage for me, or in the pit lane. That's
Uh-oh.
weird. But yeah, this is I think we can see him get down low 27s. I mean, I've got my eye on Kyler Boggs here. I've seen him race in the wet a couple times on this game, and I think he could be a real guy to watch, contend for this win here.
On a track like Hungaroring especially, I mean, it is called plenty enough Monaco without walls, but the pace may be different here for the drivers as it would be on a lot of the other tracks. So we'll see who may come away with good time here through qualifying, and I mean, given the pace difference and whatnot, it could be anybody's race.
And I assume this might go into. Is it gonna be heavy rain? Do you know by any chance throughout, not quality, but like in the race maybe?
I think the race weather is supposed to start on wet and progress to wettest by the end of it.
Oh wow. So okay, so you could be a really good, intermediate runner, but the wets may not be the way. I learned that yesterday myself. Oh, another lap. He actually ran another lap, Will did, so
Yeah, stayed out
looks like
for
he has more in the
another.
tank.
Billy Targi also improving by nearly half a second there for the 128.7, but not good enough to advance on Will Racing on provisional pole with the 128.6 at the moment.
I feel with the wet, you can have more ERS to use, and like it doesn't drain like it does, you know, in dry. So I think that's why these guys are opting to make a couple more laps around this track because the DRS doesn't, or DRS, I'm sorry, ERS, it doesn't drain like it does in the dry. Also saves a
Seems
set of intermediates.
It does certainly seem for most of the drivers, looking at their telemetry and whatnot, that they're coming around after their first hot lap having banked plenty to just get it going for another if they do so choose. So, a few of them electing to, a few of them starting to improve on their times, and maybe even a line that is sort of dry of sorts starting to appear on
Ooh.
track.
Yeah, Connor Hannick jumped to the top, and it looked like he was going to try and make another lap until he had just spun out, but that's still a good lap by the Mercedes driver right now. Oh, don't go too far backwards. Gonna get disqualified.
Oh, yeah, we did see some strange disqualifications in last night's race as well with parking in an unsafe location on track just for trying to reverse back into it. But he does manage to get it going, and he's back on. Off he goes.
Pretty
Provisional
neat to see
pole.
the two Mercedes up top.
It is, yeah, it's separated by 1/100th of a second, no less.
Looking to possibly bring home the 1-2 for the Mercedes crew this week, and then got the two Red Bulls right behind him. Funny enough, well, that was until Cameron Lopes came up here and put his Aston Martin into the third position.
Would be great to
Still haven't
see
seen
those
Codwell.
Mercedes with a good performance today. Both of them representing well for the European Series, racing out of England.
Let's see. Legit Rhino. Forgot to point him out. Popped up into the fourth spot before spinning out again.
Oh, and
Man, this
as
spot
he's
right here is gonna be
mentioned,
crazy.
he will try to get it going one way. He'll try to go the other. Oh,
Oh,
and ducking past him with some
I think
finesses.
that
The
was an
Alpine
Alpine, I believe.
looks to have been
Oh,
SRT Silencer.
and
Whoever, however, is also on an invalidated lap of his own, so maybe looking to bank on this lap.
with the way he's running, I think he's gonna take it back to the pits probably. I thought he'd probably try to back it up, save some ERS, but it looks like he's already made a couple laps on this set of Venters, so might come back in and get ready to run his last set. As Kyler still hasn't gone out yet. He should go out soon. He must be thinking about making one lap. Oh, Cameron Lopes.
Cameron
Oof.
Lopes to the top of the board into the 27s, the first driver of the day to do so.
Looking to turn the ship around for Team 44R. I believe that's the team. Yeah, that is. Yeah, Team 44 for the Aston Martin, trying to get a good result for them in today. Unfortunate not to see Taze Leroy. I saw him, I raced with him earlier. Unfortunate not to see him be able to make it today. Would have been two um, older individuals in the series for years ago.
Right, some seasoned vets. Well, with their loss today, I mean, less racing positions on the grid, so that many more that will be able to fight for points, it looks like. Only one driver, as it stands at the moment, will be outside of the points today, so plenty to be fought for.
And I do not want to be that one driver. That would hurt, you know, just to be the a single one to not be able to score points.
It
Fortunately, it's
would.
gonna happen to someone.
In a lobby of 10, it's like, if you end up last with 1 point, it's like, whatever. But in a lobby of 11, it's just that much worse to be the last one without the points.
It's gonna be interesting. Let's see how he's gonna bring it back in. We got oh, Snoopy jumped up to second.
He
There
did
you
very
go.
quietly, right under our noses. He goes into second with the 128.6, and he's the third driver in the 128.6s. In fact, only 1,000th of a second faster than Connor Hannick there, and currently in P3.
Let's see. Oh, Oh, this one said a Rhino said a purple sector too. I don't know if that's a glitch or not. Oh, bringing it in. Never mind. Darn. I think it might have been a glitch then. Oh, Alfa Romeo looks to be starting the lap. That is of Rumpel Fugly. Don't know. Just gonna call him Rumpel.
Looks like the AlphaTauri of Manx Joy has also just started a lap. He'll be looking to improve from P10 at the moment. Seems to have only set really a banker lap, about 6 seconds off pace with the 133. So, lots to improve on here.
And I feel like with some drivers, they want to get a feel for the track, and you mess up a little bit here on your first go, and it kind of, you get a little hesitant or nervous to go back out there because one slip up could really could end your qualifying session, and then let's say you do the same thing in the race. I mean, so people want to tiptoe around here, but there's some who kind of already know their limits, like Cameron Lopes and Snoopy and Connor and Will. I mean, they kind of know their limit.
It looks like it. Well, maybe a dry line of sorts starting to form as Manx Joy is quite a decent margin up on previous best time. Oh, now up on the time, or down on the time, I'm sorry.
Ooh.
Seems to have had a twitch coming through the end of Sector 2 and just lost a lot of
Oh.
momentum off of it. Off track, even. Well, plenty of time to get one more lap in, and probably will be looking to do so after a quick duck into the pits. Still waiting on a lap from Kyler, though.
Well, speaking of Alfa Romeo, here's this Alfa Romeo who's already made one coming around to set his lap. Looks to be a 129. 129 flat indeed.
He does
Puts him up to 6.
improve. Yeah, and does manage to improve by a margin, and that Alfa Romeo may have a decent chance here. However, teammate, as mentioned, not yet out of the pits.
Oh, do you think he possibly is? Does he have a qualifying penalty?
He may be serving a qualifying
I'm
penalty.
thinking that might
Yeah.
be it. Whoa.
Well, with the time remaining, it looks like drivers will have about one shot, whether they are in the pits or not. They will have time for one cycle through from an out lap all the way through cool down lap if necessary to get a good lap in.
Well,
Let's
Cameron
see.
Lopes has started his out lap at the moment. Oh, he's actually coming to start his actual lap. So he might try and go for 2 laps here. I feel like that's the normal thing to do on the set of enters, to try and put 2 bankers down, make sure you have enough fuel in the car for it.
And Will in the Mercedes on his previous lap. It looks to be that he's going for another at the moment, but snuck right up into P2 with the 128.4.
Wow, boy, Will seems to be really good in these type of conditions. That's good to see. That's very good to see. We'll have to see if he's got a flyer right here. Don't want to be the one to judge, but it just doesn't look like it. I mean, it looks like he's a little bit more squirrely. Yeah. Oh, Connor Hannock up to P3. Man, the Mercedes came to play, I tell you.
So yeah, positions definitely starting to swap around here coming towards the end of the qualifying session.
I wonder if he's going to back this lap up and go for another hot lap right here after.
It may be all he has time for. It looks like if he were to try to get back into the pits from where he is on track at the moment, he may not make it all the way back around on an out lap to be able to start another. So we'll see. It looks like he is banking, so he will be going for it again, we can assume. And that's an
Ooh,
advancement for Cameron Lopes on provisional pole. Good for nearly
almost on
3/10.
126.
In these conditions especially, that's impressive more than anything. Nearly into the 126s as mentioned, and no other driver yet to drop into the 127, so he's good for about 1.3 seconds on P2 at the moment.
Got man Joy out here trying to improve the lap of a 133. Should be able to do for this individual. Had a good lap going last time. Oof, as it gets very loose. Um, just low throttle happy it looks like. Let's see. Oh, Cameron Lopes is on pace to set another flyer. It looks like he actually might get into the 126s here if he continues to hold on and complete this lap, which I think he might do.
We'll see as he comes through the last through corners now. Through turn 14 and to the line he'll run. We'll see what he manages to get from it. Oh, it looks like a great time. He
Oh,
is into the 126s with the 126.8. Nearly a second and a half up on
oh no.
P2.
Connor Hannick off course, off track. I think his qualifying is going to be done for, but nonetheless should still be happy for with the P2 at the moment.
Oh yeah, he would have to make a big push here to try to
Oh,
get back to the
there
line,
we
and
go.
it's probably not worth it. Currently in P3.
Yeah, legit Rhino just jumped him. Good run for that McLaren.
That is, and he'll have to sit on that 128.0 and hope that nobody advances, as he will not make it back to the line for another lap. Not that he has the ERS to be able to do so anyway, but we imagine that there are a few drivers that are out on double laps at the moment. I believe Billy Targi, currently P6, is running the second of a double lap now. No,
Those
he
ERS
seems
is
to
going to
have
be
just
close.
finished his second of his double laps. But yeah, the time is going to be kind of tight for some of these drivers.
Snoopy improved their lap just not enough to move up in position. I wouldn't be surprised if they won again though, seeing that they've kind of got some momentum to ride off that last lap.
So over the line with plenty of time to get their final hot lap in will be, I believe that's Joseph Cozy Rumpelfugel in the Alfa Romeo. Through turn 1, looking to improve here from P7.
Legit Rhino coming off the final corner. I just want to see if they improve their lap by anything.
And it does
They
not
did.
look
They went to
like...
a 27.7.
Oh, and it will be a good advancement into the 27s. No other driver besides, of course, Cameron Lopes on pole, it looks like.
Well, I must be mistaken. Connor
However,
Hannick actually seems to get a lap going.
3 drivers did make it over the line with enough time to get another
Ooh.
lap going. It is the Alfa Romeo of Joseph Cozy, the Alpine of SRT Silencer, and Connor Hannick in the Mercedes.
Got Snoopy coming off or going into the final corner, about to make their exit off of it. Gonna see where this puts them right now. Ooh, well,
And
that's
quite a
how
bit
though.
wide into the grass, over the line, and may have known at that point that it wouldn't have
It
been
was
enough
over.
to improve. We'll have to sit on that P5. However, 3 cars yet to cross the line here. The first of them will be the Alfa Romeo. Keeps it within track limits and improves on his time by 2/10, but not enough to improve his position. However, SRT Silencer, good for P6 on that lap, and will be the only one of those 3 remaining cars to improve. So, there you have it. The grid is set.
Any surprises you see throughout the field? I mean, obviously, we haven't seen many of these guys, at least in these conditions, run laps. I don't know if you have anyone that shocked you or surprised you.
I think it's good to see Will improving on last week's performance by some margin. Good for P4 on the qualifying. I think he was much further down the grid for the start of last week's Grand Prix, but a good improvement there. Some newcomers to the series as well, of course. We've got Mo Altai, Chill Mo down in P9, and Joseph Cozy, Rumpelfugly in P8. Billy Targi electing to race the series as well. He's usually in the booth with me for this one, but he qualified P7, so that is quite a good surprise for me personally. But the grid is set. We got Cameron Lopes and Legit Rhino will be duking it out on the first row.
Now, qualifying pace is one thing, but race pace is another. I'm very interested and curious to see which one of these or which some of these guys have their race pace set up to compared to others. Oh, I'm in a car for some reason. Okay, well, I'll have to retire that. But yeah. Um, I'm very curious though to see what you know, whose race pace is kind of, you know, better than the others in front. Qualifying is one thing, and you know the race is another.
I agree. I mean, especially given the conditions, the cream will rise to the top, that's for sure. If an incident was to occur in dry conditions, it's just going to be magnified tenfold in wet conditions. So only the ones that have true control will be able to maintain consistency for this race.
I can retire it on track, can't I? I don't want to. Do I retire it on track? I just don't want to do anything wrong.
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Yeah, there we go. And they're off. They were off indeed.
It looks like they were off a lot faster than I was able to make note of, but we already have an incident involving the Alfa Romeo taking a spin,
Oh, three
correcting it
wide.
pretty nicely.
Ooh.
Lots of twitching here through the first two corners.
Oh, we got one around Mercedes.
We do have the Mercedes of
Oh,
Connor Hannick around, taking damage there.
I don't know who hit him. It wasn't any of the. Was it the AlphaTauri?
I can't tell. I've got my eyes open for damage to any front wings or whatnot, but
I think it's a Ferrari. It's a Ferrari.
it is the Ferrari, it looks like, of Chill Mo.
Entire wing gone. Dang.
So he will have to come in to replace that if he has any hope of staying out and staying in the points.
I
Possible
think Hannick
strategies
avoided
here.
damage at least.
We see the
He
pit
just went
strategies powered
spun.
by AWS. We have a one-stop inters to inters, or we have the two-stop inters to inters to inters.
And I think if people, if these drivers decided to check their weather radar, or at least took a quick look at it, they see that there is heavy rain on the way. So hopefully some recognize that and ought to, you know, at least remember to change compounds if it becomes too wet. Honestly, I don't know how these guys are gonna tell. To be fair, you know, I tried judging off of the weather yesterday, and I was completely wrong. So I mean, it's gonna be hard, in my opinion, to really judge what's heavy and what's really not.
Yeah, it seemed to be pretty tough last night as well, given that conditions were somewhat similar. But Kyler Boggs should be mentioned, just kind of carving his way up the back of the pack at the moment. Started in the final racing position, having served that qualifying penalty, we believe. Makes it up into P7 at the moment.
And he's really gaining on this on Billy Targi up here. Who Billy has gone off a little bit. Yeah, it's just these conditions are so it's hard to really drive in these conditions with full fuel, uh, especially when you just got done running probably minimum fuel for qualifying. So the car feels a lot more heavier and all that. So you know you got to back up the corners more. But Kyler up is indeed up to P6 from P11, which is pretty good with only 2 laps.
So it's Cameron Lopes who has run himself out a bit of a lead here, already up 1.7 seconds it looks like on Legit Rhino in the McLaren, chasing him down. And gaps starting to form here, over a second between each car from first all the way down through fourth it looks like.
Oh, gotta change for position. Oh, fastest lap by Cameron right there, 130.7. About 3 seconds off or 4 seconds off of what he ran in qualifying. Connor is making his way back through the pack after that little spin he had. Currently working on the AlphaTauri, or trying to work on the AlphaTauri. Oh, what a dive by the Alfa Romeo. Gee, oof. I think that was Joseph. Yikes. Oh, 3 second given.
Yep, already some track limits being assessed here on the third lap of 35.
I was afraid of this happening with, just the conditions, just not, it's hard to stay on track. Some of it could be due to trying to save the car, and you can probably make that case for Billy because looking at him now, it looks like he's doing a lot of left right coming out of the corners, so it's unfortunate.
It is the line not quite as dry as it was towards the end of the qualifying session. Watching along now as Connor Hannick looks to be making the move on the AlphaTauri of Manx Joy, but not quite close enough. And just with the conditions and the difference in comfort with the cars and levels of experience on track, especially in these conditions, these gaps are starting to grow by some margin. However, we do see Connor Hannick having made the move, and up into P8 he goes. He will be chasing down Billy Targi now for P7, who will actually not need to be chased down because he's into the pits, it looks like. And did he change tire? It
It
looks
looks
like he
like he
did go
did.
on to a fresh set of inters, but not yet onto the full wets, it seems. Legit Rhino now having made up a bit of the gap to the leader, Cameron Lopes. Gap now under a second and a half, was up to about 1.9 at its largest. However, gap
Yeah.
from him to Jude Ferry, Snoopy car in the Red Bull, is continuing to grow by some margin.
It's very interesting. The top two have basically all their ERS saved up, but when you look back, you got the third, fourth, and Willis saved up some, but some of these guys have abused their ERS a little bit and haven't been able to keep the pace like Cameron Lopes has, and so is Legit Rhino.
That is very true. Taking a look now at the position changes since the start of the Grand Prix, and we see Will having lost one position, having started P4, but it's Connor Hannick dropping from P3 to P7 off the start. Currently 10 seconds back on Kyler Boggs for P6, and those four lost positions I'm sure he'll be looking to make back up sooner rather than later. Biggest earners, it is of course Kyler Boggs moving out from P11 to P6, and SRT Silencer and Jude Ferry currently P4 and P3 moving up 2 positions apiece.
Man, these guys are, wow. Just watching it just gives me flashbacks. I mean, the left, the right, it's horrible to try and really put your foot down on the throttle without having some type of mess up. Billy picks up another 3 second. He's just trying to figure out the track at this point, or trying to figure out his braking zones.
It is 6 seconds total, and I'm sure many other warnings being handed out already, but no other driver earning a full track limits penalty yet besides that Red Bull.
Taking a look now. Top three look to be all warning free. Legit Rhino's kind of keeping Cameron within distance, um, keeping it around the 1.5, 1.8 second mark. Um, Obviously they're trying to, you know, go as far as they can. Oh, and looks like Cameron gets the better of him in sector one at least.
It should be noted though, this is the first time all race thus far that the timing board has shown him 2 seconds back or more. He has maintained the gap between 1 and 2 seconds for most of these first few laps. It seems to be keeping right with him anyway, that gap not growing by much of a margin.
It's tough to say what's the best strategy to go on. trying to think through my head and see and what will work better for these guys. You don't want to pit right before the heavy rain comes in, and you got to switch to the wet. So I mean, it's also they got to keep that in mind that even if if you want to go on a one stop, you gotta wait out the rain a little bit, even if you could. I'm not too sure if that's possible, but they need to keep that in mind at least.
And with these gaps starting to form between the drivers, just the sheer space between one another, it doesn't seem like we'll be getting any incidents as frequently as we did last night. As mentioned, I mean, nearly a third of the race distance raced behind the safety car. But tonight, we may not be seeing much of the same. Not too much fighting going on, not too much battling. It will be, it looks like, a competition of consistency as we see our second penalty assessed there for track limits to the Ferrari.
At least Billy can feel a little bit better about himself. He isn't the only one to now pick up a 3 second. Currently got that last spot locked up for points, so as long as he can keep it in front and be a little bit more cautious going around the track, which it looks like he has done ever since he's gotten that 6 second, um, might be in a good day to at least score a point, which is better than no points.
Plenty of race ahead of him yet as well, of course.
Got a pass. I think Wilmus had a moment or something. Kyler got by him and has already gotten a 1.5 second gap on him. But put the Kyler Boggs guy up to P5 after starting dead last. So that's a really good improvement throughout the race. Possibly there is a chance he could go up there and have a chance at a podium.
Yep. 6 positions up since the start, as mentioned. I mean, good points where he is at the moment, but he'll be looking for more, absolutely.
Starting to rack him back up. I think this is Joseph you were talking about, and the other Alfa Romeo. He just picked up a 3 second.
He did, yeah. Those warnings starting to tack on now, it seems. Drivers already having gotten their first few. And the Red Bull of Billy Targi has crept right up to the back of the AlphaTauri there of Manjoy, maybe looking to make the move around the outside here. Keeping it nice and steady though. Not much of a twitch. Will tuck right in behind. No DRS of course on this one given the conditions. Had a thought to be looking up the inside, but tucks it back in for turn 1. Right on the back now of that AlphaTauri, however. Looks up the inside, and he has it clean. Through 2 and 3 he goes. Good for P8, and he is, of course, on 4-lap-old tires, while the rest of the grid is on their 7-lap-old intermediates, so that extra 3 laps may buy him some crucial time come the end of this stint in time for changeovers. Barring any change in weather conditions, of course, that is. But Joseph Cozy, the other Alfa Romeo, having ducked into the pits, has taken fresh inters himself on those 0-lap-old tires, so he may be in a great position as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lap times here as they came across the line. Cameron Lopes, he was 3 seconds off of his fastest lap. So, the inters are wearing out quite a bit more than I thought, especially early on in this race. So, if let's say you want to get on jump on someone, any time is the right time at this point. I mean, the tire wear is incredible in the wet here at Hungary.
So by ducking in maybe a bit early, Joseph Cozy of that Alfa Romeo may be trying to play the undercut here. As we see Manx Joy in the Alfa Romeo also coming in now.
Might have saw what Billy Targi was able to do right there with them just 3 lap fresher tires. Oh, legit Reynolds DNF'd. Oh, he's lost
Oh
it.
no.
Oh no.
Looks to be, yeah, stopped on track, and that will have the safety car deployed for it. May have had an incident, plenty of debris probably to clean up after that.
It was right there before sector 3. I think he might have. I think it's that fast. Was it the fast right-hander? I believe he got caught. I'm pretty sure that's where he got caught.
I think that's where I saw his dot on the map, yeah.
Yeah, he was right there where Hanek just passed. I think he might have gotten on that curb, and the curb kind of just shot him forward. I know if you get too much curb in this game, since they're a lot more higher up, it'll just get you stuck. And you know, since it's the wet, he might have locked up and just had nothing he could have done. Unfortunate ending though for the McLaren. Running a solid P2 and was though it was 3 seconds, he was still sitting in a podium and you know could have made the best out of it. But unfortunately, going to be leaving here with an 11th place finish, and the only one unfortunately not receiving points.
So, there it is, folks. Every racing position left on the grid will be points scoring. Lots on the table. And it is just
Shot no
really
one came in.
unfortunate.
Oh, they did come in.
Yeah.
They came in for the full wets.
It
Oh, I didn't
looks
even catch
like
that.
Connor Hannock came in for full wets. Let's see if anybody else did. And
Yeah, the
the
entire
whole
top three did, I think.
from first
Everyone.
to sixth, yeah. Billy
Oh
Targi
wow.
hanging it out on his younger intermediates, but Chilmo in the Ferrari moving up to P8 on a few others running a pit run, but himself on the oldest tires on the whole grid. And he comes in
Maybe that's
now.
why the lap time was that bad. Maybe it was time for the wets eventually. Maybe it was time. The rain certainly looks a lot more heavier.
And it looks like, given the fact that we do have nearly half the grid yet to catch the pack behind the safety car, we will be under safety car for one more lap, most likely. So maybe Mo Altai sitting there in P9 on one lap younger full wet tires than everybody else ahead of him. Maybe getting some ideas here.
I feel like it can make a difference. It could truthfully make a difference. You know, it's just the dry. I feel like it's a little different when you compare the dry race to a wet race. I mean, these wet tires they eat, especially the wet tires. It's not hard to overheat these things when it's not too wet. Obviously, it is pretty wet, as you see the puddles all around the track. But it's not hard to overheat these tires and really, you know, really damage them and tear them up. So I mean, this could be a really smart call by the Ferrari driver. Oh, someone just. Oh, well, the AlphaTauri Manjoya looked to have had a spin under safety car. I think he was catching up to the pack and just had lost it. Got it back going. It looks like he avoided some damage, so that's good.
That is good. We do see now Connor Hannig ducking back into the pits, having done so on the first lap under safety car for the full wets. Goes to a even fresher set of full wets.
Not a bad call in my opinion by the Mercedes. And he's only lost what, one spot? One or two spots? I mean, he really didn't lose much if we're gonna be honest.
With plenty of time to catch the grid too, I'm sure he was seeing those cars trailing and knowing that the safety car would be around for one more lap, and just thought that one extra lap on those full wets may be worth it. Sitting
I
currently with
think we'll have
25
another
racing
one.
laps left.
I think we're gonna have another lap after this.
It
The
looks
pack
like
isn't
it.
all formed up, unfortunately, and that's just how the game is. But after this, it should go in next lap regardless. Usually, it only serves up to like 3 laps under safety car, and then it has to go in. But it gives these guys some time to warm up their tires, especially for the guys up front who have been sitting behind the safety car for the entirety. Try and get those wets warmed up or at least up to temperature. You don't want to drive cold tires, in the way it's just not gonna feel good. I wish it was this easy. Trying to trying to get the tires right for a wet track like this. Seemed everyone had the same idea going to the wets. Kyler Boggs up to P4. Very impressed with this man's run from last. I mean, yeah, there's only 11 guys, but I mean he's right there knocking at a podium, which I think he'll be able to, get his hands on. Very, very good run for the Alfa Romeo driver.
Yeah, certainly has been showing great form so far today. Once more around we'll go, as we wait for, it looks like 3 cars to catch the back of the pack. Should do so somewhere through Sector 2. And as mentioned, a few penalties having already been assessed for track limits. Conditions seeming to have worsened here as we're seeing the whole grid going from intermediates to the full wet tires within the last few laps. So can only imagine that there are more penalties yet to be dished out, but we'll wait patiently for such a thing, as we do see the Red Bull of Jude Ferry's Snoopy car having lost it under the safety
Oh
car and
yeah.
hitting the wall straight on with his nose. He seems to have lost his front wing, and regardless, the safety car will be in this lap, unfortunately for him.
Looks like him and the Alpha Tauri will catch up, but man, the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo look like they won't be able to catch. Or no, the Ferrari will. But I'm not too sure. Oh, Snoopy had another moment.
Oh, unfortunate. Just without that front wing, he's got no ability to turn going into the corner entries, so he'll have to just gingerly take it around. Field stacking up now behind Cameron. It's on his go, and he takes off. Gets a good getaway, it looks like, on SRT Silencer of the Alpine in P2, but not quite good enough to shake him. He'll keep him company through turn 1. Kyler Boggs already having advanced to P3.
Another
And
3
close
second for the
behind.
Ferrari.
So yes, 6 seconds total in penalties now for that Ferrari. Oh, and a bit of a twitch there for Cameron Lopes coming out of
Yeah,
the
I saw
exit.
that. Yeah, these wet. I mean, this is their first actual laps on these wets, so they're really, just learning them as they go.
Stacked up to some margin here from P1 down to P6, it looks like. And only about a third of the way through the race, so the battle is on by all means here. The Red Bull of Jude Furry dropping like a lead balloon now to the back of the grid, missing that front wing. And it will be a 3-second penalty for track limits assessed now to Will in the Mercedes, currently in P4.
Kyler trying his best to pressure SRT Silencer.
And at the same time, Connor Hannick looking to make the move around the outside here on teammate Will.
Well, looks to have just given the spot up, knowing his teammates just a little bit faster in these conditions.
Oh, and has a twitch himself that may open the door for Billy Targi. It does. If only for a moment, however, Billy will have the inside line here. Oh, and Will drifting just a bit wide. It will be Billy Targi pulling into P5 on that one. However, as mentioned, sitting on 6 seconds of penalties at the moment. Bit of a gap formed in the meantime between P1 and P2, Cameron Lopes and SRT. Now up to nearly 2.5 seconds. That Alpine may have had a bit of a moment as Kyler Boggs is looking to make the move sooner rather than later on him.
Oof. He is giving it his all. He's moving around and everything.
Racing on tight margins here given the wet conditions, but thus far, minimal incidents I'd say. Ooh, as SRT Silencer has a bit of a moment, ends up on the grass after going a bit wide. That may open the door here for Kyler Boggs, looking to hang it around the outside into turn 1. Gives plenty of space.
Ooh.
Oh, but there may have been contact there with the Alpine. Alpine may have kind of run up into him. Kyler will tuck it back in behind.
Got a yellow flag. I believe that was Snoopy back there that had spawned. Yep, and it was indeed, unfortunately.
And has not yet taken it into the pits for a fresh front wing, it seems. Maybe thinking of doing so now. Oh, does not. He stays out. Interesting call there for the Red Bull.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going through the back of their head. I mean, unless they're praying for a safety car, but I don't know what good that really does for you. I'm not too sure what the strategy is behind this call.
The time lost off the pack on each lap that there isn't a safety car, I don't think, is worth trying to risk it. Yeah, it's a high risk, high reward maneuver, but not having it happen is just too much of a loss for it to be worth it, I feel. But, I mean, leader Cameron Lopes already building out a gap of nearly 5 seconds now, as SRT Silencer and Kyler Boggs continue battling it out, with Connor Hannick now keeping them both company as well.
And Silencer is draining the heck out of his ERS. He's down to 54. He's trying his best to fend off the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes. Connor's taking an interesting line. I've seen him do it a couple times now. He really looks wide into one. I think that must be to help with grip, I assume. I mean, maybe he's found something there that works for him better than others. So I mean, keep an eye on some of the lines these guys run through here that helps them keep the car under full traction.
I mean, given how heavy the rain is, there is of course no real dry line for drivers to look for or try to settle into,
Oof.
so any line that works is the line to take. Connor now getting right up to the back of Kyler.
It's really starting to, it was Kyler pressuring the Alpine, but now it's Connor pressuring Kyler. All that being said, Lopes has gotten another 2 seconds out of it this lap on second place.
That gap ever growing, it seems, gaining time even now, as just in the time since Matthew Stotts here mentioned it, gap up to 6.5 seconds, gaining half a second just in the matter of a few corners. That battle for P2, though, is certainly tight. Kyler Boggs here much closer to SRT Silencer on this lap than he was on his last try. Maybe looking
He's
up
gonna
the
try and
outside.
crossover? Oh,
The
he's gonna
switchback
crossover. Oh,
move.
beautiful. Oh, he didn't
Bit
complete
of a
it. Oh, that would
twitch.
have been
Oh,
nice.
and
Would have
just
been nice.
enough of his momentum killed on that step out to give SRT Silencer the position back. He will maintain P2 for the moment. Connor Hannick, though, close here. Backs out just a little. Oh, and yellows are out in Sector 1. It looks like that AlphaTauri may have had a bit of an incident. And Kyler Boggs, as mentioned, having already advanced from P11 up to P3, keeping the fight tight now for P2, with Connor Hannick still in close company. Not much going on down the rest of the grid, but all positions left are point scoring positions, so plenty to be fought for if another incident is to happen. Find ourselves as the leaders cross the line now halfway through this Grand Prix.
Oh man, Kyler Boggs is running Connor Hennick really tight there. Oh no, Connor Hennick!
Oh, and he's off into the wall. Gets it going once again, though.
He tried to switch back and just got on the throttle just too much and
And
tried to just hold on to it.
he is missing an end plate, and that will compromise his pace by some margin. The door now already being opened to Billy Targi and Will there in the Mercedes, currently racing P6. Oh, and just from one battle right into another goes Connor Hannick, unfortunately.
Ooh, wow. Will picks up another 3 second, by the way. That's gonna help. Well, not really just help, but it makes the battle with Billy Targi a lot more even, as they're both on 6 seconds.
And Connor Hannick just defending for his life here, missing that end plate. I'm sure he's wishing he had it. Could be pulling away here potentially, back up into the fight, as he has shown pretty substantial pace thus far, but just does not have it with the compromised equipment. Oh, and he's around? Not quite. He does save it, but he was sideways for quite a margin there. Billy Targi may have ran straight into the back of him for it. Hopefully no damage
Billy
to
have
that Red
damage?
Bull. It does not look like it. Looks like he may have jammed the brakes as soon as he saw an incident that was going to happen, but Connor Hannick, yeah, was nearly sideways.
Connor's chosen to continue with this damage. Maybe he might have, some damage, but maybe he's fast enough to where he can still stay out in front of his teammate. And Billy, as his teammate, runs very wide, almost runs into the back of Connor Hannick. Will was able to keep it going, though, without losing it under braking or anything like that. So he backs himself up back into Billy Targi, though, to reignite this fight.
These cars, of course, the closest of any on the grid at the moment. Connor Hannick already building a bit of a margin to the two cars chasing him, up a second and a half on them out of that battle, even with the bit of an incident that he did have. Will and Billy racing each other rather hard here. Billy looking up the inside, but not with enough to get it done. And he knows, having seen that penalty come up to put him even with Will, that it's game on here for P5 at the very least. Staying tight with the Mercedes, but both of them just in these conditions having a bit of a twitch on that corner exit, and most of these corner exits will provide a bit of wheel spin into the back of the Mercedes. It looks like he went, instantly backing off.
So I do have some intel, some input on what's going on with Snoopy. Snoopy apparently the game lagged, and they can't unpause because they can't take control of their cars. So they're kind of stuck, forced to sit in AI, and the AI is choosing not to fit the car.
Oh,
Well, the game strikes again.
It looks like they will have to stay at the back of the grid for it, as Billy Targi does get the move done here on Will. They had a good battle there for at least a lap, but Billy Targi up into P5 for the moment.
Connor Hannick has pulled away from them quite a bit. Now he tries to... It's never too late. He might be able to have a chance to pull a reel back in Kyler Boggs if Kyler loses a good bit of time.
Oh, and as his name is mentioned, Kyler Boggs with a big step out there on the exit of 13, it looks like. Of 12, I'm sorry.
While he had that step out, Billy picked up another 3 seconds, so now he's got to put another 3 second gap on Will here, and try and try and keep his P5. As there's also a battle back here in 7th. Chill and Rumpel going at it. Obviously Chill with the 9 seconds and Rumpel with the 3, but still a battle that could mean something here.
Around the outside goes that Alfa Romeo. Is it enough though? Oh, a bit wide.
Beautiful though, still beautiful. Even if you can't fully complete the pass, it was a beautiful move to at least have the momentum going into turn 1. Looks like
They seem to be
Chill was
nearly
using some
side by
ERS.
side. Yes, using his battery to some margin there. He will have the inside line, and now on the outside, he just kind of scoots over, it seems. Oh, not
Ooh,
quite.
a little close right there. Looks like they both avoided damage.
But it is the Alfa Romeo of Joseph, I believe, moving his way up into P7 for the moment.
Oh, we got a
And
retired car, man. Oh, was that a safety car? No, it's not.
the AlphaTauri will have to retire, probably some mechanical failures, but just in the split second before we saw that announcement, that Alfa Romeo picking up another 3-second penalty. So,
Oh, this Alfa Romeo's out of control. As in a Rumple, that is.
the other one, however, maintaining P3. Not too far behind the P2 Alpine of SRT Silencer, but far enough to not be able to make a move anytime soon, it seems. Oh, it nearly goes wide. Has a big twitch on the exit of turn 1. But corrects it and maintains. Loses out a bit, though, to that P2 Alpine. And that gap just growing larger and larger, it seems, from Cameron Lopes, our current race leader, down to P2 and P3. Now up to 16 seconds.
Yeah, look at the gap for the lead right now is almost 17 seconds. Cameron Lopes is on a Sunday drive, I tell you. He's just out there.
He is, maybe knowing that P2 is being fought for much harder than P1 would be in the same scenario. Kyler Boggs really laying it on SRT Silencer, keeping up with him to some margin. Gap staying under 2 seconds, but in these conditions, that's really not too much.
I'm starting to see Silencer. He's starting to get a lot more loose coming off the corners. So I don't know if he's getting a little anxious, seeing that Alfa Romeo starting to get bigger from behind or what. But he's starting to slide his rears a little more.
Taking a look now at the tire data, the top 3, well, the whole field, of course, all on the full wets, but the top 3 on 13-lap-old tires, with Connor Hannick there having ducked in kind of cheekily on the final lap of the safety car. His wet tires are 1 lap younger, 12 laps old. And then 13, most of the rest away down to the back of the pack, except for Will, who finds himself on 14-lap-old full wets.
Oh yeah, Kyler is pushing. He is looking to the inside of this Alpine. Oh, they're going to make a little bit of contact.
Wheel to wheel. Backing off a bit is Kyler. Maybe looking to make the switchback move. We'll have the outside here through the end of Sector 2. Backs off once again. Into 12, he will stay tucked behind the Alpine.
Yeah, Kyler knows he gets very loose in this part of the corner. Look at him go. Oh, they both got loose
both
there.
of them, yeah. Big twitch and big corrections from both of them. Kyler may be looking up the inside here. Oh, another big twitch for him, though. And he will lose out on a bit of space to SRT silencer because of it, it seems.
Looks like Chill and Will are coming out of the pits right here. Looks like they're still going to be on the wets.
Yep, full wets.
Actually, a lot of them made pit stops. Yeah, oh, 4th through 8th all made a pit stop here.
Oh wow, it looks like it, yeah.
I'm not sure if they knew they were going to make it or what the scenario of doing that was. They probably thought it was time. They probably felt like the grip was gone on the wets.
So the leaders now, our top 3 are the only ones yet to pit, it looks like. Besides, of course, the unfortunate AI car we have at the back of the grid. But it is SRT Silencer in the Alpine who will be the next to duck into the pits.
If I'm Kyler Boggs, I'm pitting. Very next time by. I mean these wets, you get so much time gained off of them. It's not a joke. So I would pit here if I was Kyler's next time by, because you're already gonna lose more time just waiting and sitting.
Yeah, a fresh set could really be the difference maker here. The undercut may be being played there by the Alpine. I guess we'll have to see once Kyler does elect to come in. But racing all by himself by all means here. 23 seconds to the leader and then 18 seconds back to the next closest car behind. Oh, and Connor Hannick seems to have had a bit of an incident there. Safety car is out. Virtual, however.
Oh no, it's upgraded. Safety car. It is now a safety car. Oh man, Kyler Boggs is probably going to be able to keep second here. I'm not too sure. It's going to be very hard to tell because, you know, these guys have to follow a delta. So Kyler might have just got himself a free pit stop to get himself into second. It's going to be hard. Oh, he's going to get it.
He goes. And by a large margin, it looks like he will have second place. That Alpine coming up fast, though.
Oh, he's going to get him.
And pulling the spot. Oh,
Is he going to get it? I'm not. Ooh, Kyler might try and contest that one. I'm not too sure. Oh, yeah, the Alpine. They're going to give it to the Alpine. Kyler Boggs almost pulled it off. And I mean, oh, almost. But this bunches the field back together. This gives everybody a fair shot to go at Cameron Lopes here. I mean, Cameron might have been leading this thing this entire time, but it's a bit different now when you got the whole pack together.
Yep. Everybody, it seems, on the lead lap as well. So, shouldn't be too hard to get them all back into formation. Leader coming through the final few turns of Sector 3 now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd be just bamboozled to not see this let's see the leader pit here.
As expected, it looks like he will be going in for a fresh set of the full wets here with 9 laps to race. It will be those full wets, conditions not quite easing up enough to allow for any more intermediate tire running today. Rain seems to have gotten much heavier, I must say, since the start of the race. Those puddles forming somewhere around lap 10 or 12 or so, and it's just been downpour ever since.
Taking a look at the leaders right here to see how many warnings each of them have. Cameron has 1. Silencer has 2. So some of these guys are on edge with warnings. So is Kyler Boggs. So I mean, some of these guys are 1 warning away from costing themselves here.
And can only imagine, with them racing as hard as they probably will be off the restart, we may see penalties starting to get assessed. To some degree, of course, only 3 drivers left on the grid without a penalty to serve come race's end. Taking a look now, and all drivers seem to have cycled onto a fresh set of full wet tires. However, lots of space to be made up here for them to catch the safety car.
Yeah, Cameron Lowe's built such a big gap that second place isn't even up to him in the safety car yet.
So, waiting now for, it looks like, the rest of the grid besides the top 3 to catch the safety car, so we will be around once more behind it. So, we will be back with, it looks like, 7 laps to race, if the pack can manage to catch the safety car on this lap. And at this point, I feel like it is kind of Cameron Lopes' race to lose. That battle for P2, of course, will be very tight, as it has been for most of the last 10 laps or so. Maybe even with a chance at that P1 position if they can keep Cameron Lopes close enough.
I think this is going to be it, unfortunately. I think only 3 cars going to be really up to the safety car. I'm not too sure if it goes in this time or next time. I think this time, though, I'm not going to... Yep. No. No, no, no. We got another lap. Well, that's good. That'll get, hopefully, the field all back together. At least those last 4 cars right there.
It looks like it should. Coming through 13 now are the top 3 behind the safety car. And coming through 12 now are the chase pack. So, once more around behind the safety car we will be going. And this will be a shootout for all intents and purposes once we are back to green, as we will only have 6 racing laps remaining. Leaders now trying to get a little bit of heat into those tires, whatever heat they can. Conditions not improving by any margin at all throughout the weekend. The whole weekend has been very wet.
has been. It really has been, and don't think there's ever been a driver. It hasn't been dry once, really. I don't think, or if it, or except for the qualifying for yesterday. But other than that, it's just been straight wet for everybody, man.
So, field is now all stacked up. Safety car will be in this lap. Waiting to get going here. Cameron Lopes will do his best to really stack up the field. It'll be on his go.
I think people need to be more concerned about going, if he does go, going off the corner. You know, obviously people want to try to be as close as they can, but if you just get on the gas a little too much in these conditions, you're spinning right away. It looks like he's actually taking off early, so that should at least help him from spinning the car out here on the straight.
Yep, an early takeoff there, and already a margin being built out. However, quickly being closed down on by that P2 Alpine of SRT Silencer. Those top three, though, already building out a gap of about 1 second, though, from fourth on down. Keeping each other company by a margin of about half a second between each. And so into Sector 2 with 6 to go, it is Cameron Lopes getting the 1 second gap now, going a bit wide there. That may have opened the door now. SRT Silencer getting real close to him now after that little mistake. Ooh, but having a bit of a twitch himself. Opening the door now for Kyler Boggs in P3, who once again is right up onto the tail of that Alpine. And it'll be another 3-second penalty for track limits assessed to the Mercedes of Will, unfortunately, as Kyler is nose to bumper there. It might have been a little bit of contact, nothing detrimental, of course.
Oh, there was contact
More
that
contact
time.
there. Kyler certainly making his presence known, but Jinx to the outside here into turn 1. Space being left for him by some margin, goes a bit wide and a bit of a step out himself. Will not pick up the position there.
All it takes is, I mean, if these two get turned or spin each other out, I mean, Billy is in position to get himself a podium. And we'll be battling the other guys with 9 seconds, and it's just, oh, I would not be making a pass here. That's a dangerous move by Kyler Boggs.
Oh, yes.
That is very dangerous.
Wheels
oh
to the side pod there. He'll take the inside.
Oh,
a big
goodness,
step
they
out.
made contact. Oh, man, I think the Alpine might have done that in some sort of way. I'm not too sure how to take that.
And as mentioned, it has opened the door right up to Billy Targi in that Red Bull, sneaking in for P3 over the Alpine of SRT Silencer, who looks up the inside and makes the move right back on him.
Yeah, I don't think he's happy one bit by how Kyler raced him. I mean, I can see his frustration, you know, being taken too wide in a corner where you never usually go too wide. It was a dangerous move on Kyler's part, and I think, you know, it you know, made, you know, the Alpine driver a little mad, and it's thrown him off his game. So now he's gonna try and regroup himself right here and try and, you know, catch back up to Kyler, because those two are actually indeed racing for position. So you know, no warning or no penalties and stuff like that. It's important to try and, you know, get what you can.
And of course, this is everything that our leader Cameron Lopes could have hoped for. The gap growing already to 5 seconds to that chasing group. Billy Targi keeping that Alpine of SRT Silencer in good company, though, sticking right to the back of him. Hoping for a mistake to be made here, he's clawing for that final podium position. And it looks like everybody now getting a bit loose off of corner exit. Everybody having a moment of some sort in these conditions. Puddles forming on all parts of the track. No dry line forming anywhere. And it's game on here as our leading pack comes through the final few corners. Cameron Lopes taking the final corner, turn 14 at the moment. And over the line for the 33rd lap of this Grand Prix with 3 to go.
I'm not trying to jinx Cameron, but man, I'll tell you, he ran an amazing race. I'm telling you, from start to finish, he ran a perfect race. He kept it very clean. He was very consistent in lap times. I mean, not really much of a, you couldn't ask for anything better from a driver. Made a tremendous, I mean, he put out a tremendous gap on the field. I mean, the wet condition really showed who was the better driver in my opinion throughout. And obviously there's still some laps to go. But still, what just an amazing effort from the Aston Martin driver to put a gap like that out and then kind of start to rebuild it very quickly just after the safety car restart.
Yeah, just clean and consistent. That's all you can really say about it. From start to finish, of course. He's put his car exactly where it needs to be, and he has not let the tire wear on those full wets, it seems, get the better of him the way we've seen with a few of the other drivers thus far.
I'll tell you what surprised me so far. Billy actually hasn't lost silencer. He's right there with him. I mean, unfortunate for the 9 seconds, but still, I mean, just to be able to ride with the dude on podium that's got the last podium spot, that's got to at least boost your confidence just a little bit for Billy in the in the upcoming future races if he does plan to race this full time or whatever he plans to do. Good race for Billy. Personally, rebounded very well from the time penalties he picked up early in the race, and he's kind of found himself in line and play. He's got himself a good rhythm going, and it's really starting to pay off for him right here. Looks like he might have P4 locked up.
Yeah, there were some early incidents, some early contact, not involving him, but happening around him that he seemed to just kind of find his way through pretty well, and it's gotten him to end up in P4 as a result, and he's been holding it down pretty well from there ever since. So great performance from him, of course, obviously. His first race of the season here in the ARC F1 Euro Series.
And shout out to Chill as well, in the Ferrari. I mean, I think Chill was running in the back for, I believe, almost the entirety of this race. So to claw themselves back into P5 it is pretty outstanding if you ask me. I mean, that's kind of hard to do. Safety cars and all that help, but still, I mean, I feel like at a track like Hungary, it's very hard to pass. Silencer picked up a 3 second and actually went off track. He's struggling here with the last. Oh gosh, shouldn't have talked nice about him.
The
Oh
old
man.
jinx. Yep,
Oh, but they can pull a 3 second.
Silencer picking up the penalty there, however. Billy, I think, sitting on 6 or 9 seconds of his own in penalties to serve, so he'll really have to put in some burners here as the leader takes the line for the final racing lap into the first sector. He already is.
Yeah, just beautiful work by him once again. I mean, you can't make it up. You can't ask for a better race. Well done, Mr. Lopes. You ran a fantastic race, and I mean, a fantastic one. So congrats to him if he can keep it clean, which I don't want to. I've already done it once. I don't want to put another jinx on someone. What a good run for him, and also for Kyler Boggs as well, man. I mean, he went from 11th up to second.
What a great race. Yeah,
It's
9
great.
positions gained. Off the qualifying penalty, no less. He was not able to qualify, so may not have gotten the same familiarity with the conditions as other drivers did, but still managed to put in just an absolute burner of a race. Penalty seeming to get the best of most of the grid here, though, unfortunately, on this
Sums
day.
up last race too. It's just this track and the wet conditions, man. They're not kind to you. They are not kind to you.
So Cameron Lopes will cruise his way through turn 13 and into 14 he goes on his Sunday drive. Around the final corner now. Bit of a twitch. Oh, and a big twitch. Big correction from him, though, as he crosses the line as today's race winner here in Hungary for the
Well done,
ARC
sir.
Formula One Euro Series.
Comes Kyler Boggs off the last corner. He's going to get his second place. That's driver of the day right there.
Rounding out the podium, we will see as these drivers cross the line and penalties are assessed. It will be Silencer picking up the final podium position in that Alpine. Billy hanging on for P4, all things considered, and a great drive from them both. Good battles in the conditions, too, between these top 4. I mean,
Oh,
disregarding Cameron
this Alfa
Lopes.
Romeo. Oh no! Oh my gosh! Why? Why did I? I was literally just gonna say this Alfa Romeo has a chance to get up to P5, but he's only gonna get P6.
Oh, man. After penalties are assessed, it will be
That
P6, but
spin,
still a
spun off the
big
corner.
moment for him on the final corner. Unfortunate. Good for P6 though, and of course all these racing positions will be point scoring positions. Plenty to have been fought for, but there we have it, folks. Your winner today will be Cameron Lopes in the Aston Martin. Kyler Boggs taking P2, and Silencer will round out the podium in P3.
Participation award, I believe, can go to Snoopy. Did their best to try and complete the race, but the game just having a moment and really not giving him a chance to complete it all. But still points though for everybody except Legit Rhino, which is unfortunate. I think that's how that works, right? As long as you're top 10, there's some that.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
okay,
Connor Hannick and Manx Joy will both score off of this race. But Cameron Lopes, once again, your winner here in Hungary. To finish off the ARC Formula One weekend after last night's American Series race here also in Hungary. Podium, as mentioned, will be Kyler Boggs taking P2 on a phenomenal drive, and Silencer of the Alpine in P3. Billy Tardy taking P4 with Will in P5, having lost out one grid position, it seems, off the start. Joseph Cozy taking P6 with Mo Altai in the Ferrari in P7. Snoopy Carr, for whatever it's worth, somehow holding on, even if not himself, for P8. Connor Hannick in P9, and Manx Joy rounding out the point-scoring positions in P10, with Legit Rhino, as mentioned, losing out on the points for the day. So,
That was a
folks,
great race.
yeah, after another crazy one, a few stops here. I mean, the gaps between the packs seem to form a lot easier in a race with fewer drivers on track, but still got a good one today. And we hope that you're able to tune in for a lot of the other ARC events that are happening in the current week, including the IndyCar series. We've got the Super GT series happening tomorrow night, and no NASCAR this week as we take a break in preparation for the playoffs, which will be kicking off a week from Tuesday and Wednesday. But we hope to see you for any of those events happening, and we're glad you tuned in today. Stotts, any final words?
I just appreciate everyone that watched. Hope everyone enjoyed watching. They put on a good show, in my opinion. I think it was a great time. Can't wait to see what they do at, I believe it's Belgium next week or the week after.
All right, we'll see you all later. Signing off.